Hello, how's it going, everybody? Today we're jumping into Ecclesiastes. We finished Proverbs yesterday, and so we'll be jumping into Ecclesiastes today. So let me get the text up on screen here for you guys. Ba ba ba. There we go. Oh, I forgot to do this. Whatever. Let's just do this for now. Okay. There. All right. So, well, wait. Give me 1 second here. So, Ecclesiastes. My hair's all over my face. So, Ecclesiastes. All right. Let me just check this audio, make sure we're not lagging. Give me 1 second. I got to pull up the stream. Let's see. Come on, where are you? All right, let's see if we're lagging. All right, we're not. Perfect. Okay. So, again, Ecclesiastes 1 to 4. Let's get started here. Do I have the audio up there? Okay, there we go. Boom. All right, let's get started.
The Book of Ecclesiastes. The words of the preacher, the son of David, king in Jerusalem.
Vanity of vanities, vanity of vanities, all is vanity. What profit has a man from all his labor, in which he toils under the sun?
Wait. The words of the preacher, the son of David, king in Jerusalem. So, son of David, king in Jerusalem, Solomon. Words of the preacher. So Solomon was looked at as a preacher, and that sort of makes sense because he was the wisest man on earth, right? He was extremely wise. He God blessed him with wisdom and riches. And that makes sense why he would be considered some sort of preacher, like who imparts wisdom upon others, because that's what did we learn in Proverbs? That's what the wise do. The wise are always humble. They continually learn, and they're humble in the sense in how they learn. They're humble in the sense in how they teach. They're willing to spread that information. They don't hold it for themselves. So maybe he was looked at as some sort of preacher because he spread his information, his wealth of knowledge and wisdom to everybody. So that's cool. So Solomon the preacher, not just Solomon the wise and Solomon the king.
Words of the preacher, the son of David, king in Jerusalem.
Vanity of vanities, vanity of vanities, all is vanity. What profit has a man from all his labor, in which he toils under the sun? One generation passes away, and another generation comes. But the earth abides forever. The sun also rises, and the sun goes down, and hastens to the place where it arose. The wind goes toward the south, and turns around to the north. The wind whirls about continually, and comes again on its circuit. All the rivers run into the sea, yet the sea is not full.
So pretty much what he's doing here, see, he's saying vanity of vanities. What? Vanity of vanities, all is vanity. So what profit has a man from all his labor in which he toils under the sun? The earth abides forever, right? So generations upon generations of people, they're searching for, what did we talk about in Proverbs, right? We shouldn't, our end goal shouldn't be wealth, right? That shouldn't be our goal. That shouldn't be our direction. We shouldn't be striving for wealth, because if we strive only for wealth, remember there are two paths, the righteous path and the wicked path. We might, lean over into that wicked path because our end goal is wealth, right? It's not what It's not whatever is at the end of the righteous path, So, you know, so our goal shouldn't be wealth, vanity, right? We're all going to die. Where's all that stuff going? It's going nowhere. It's not taking us anywhere. We're not taking it with us. And when we pass away, the earth is just going to continue to go forever. It's just going to continue on like we never existed, So don't become vain. That's what the preacher, aka, I'm guessing Solomon, right? I don't know why he's going by the preacher here, but it looks like son of David, king of Jerusalem. That's Solomon. So the sun continues to rise and go down, right? All that stuff. And what it means over here, what is it talking about over here, right? The rivers run into the sea, yet the sea is not full. You could look at that as a vain person, right? The rivers run into the sea. They're always searching for the next thing, the next greater thing, building their empire, their riches, purchasing whatever they want, gathering, collecting, whatever, you know what I mean. So all the rivers run to the sea, but the sea is never going to be full. So they're going to continually want more, and it's never going to cease, because wealth and riches, vanity, is never going to quench that thirst. The sea is never going to be quenched, no matter how many rivers are flowing into it, right? It's never going to overflow. So that's why we're in it for the long game, right? We're on that. We walk the straight now, that path to the path of righteousness, right? The path that God has set for us. We'll find our end goal. We will get riches and wealth along the way, because God will bless us along the way. But our end goal is something far greater. It's nothing of this earth, because when we pass away, the earth will just continue on, right? Continue on after we pass, right? The earth abides forever. The sun will keep going up and down, all that stuff. So our focus should be the true end goal, not this earth, not the riches we can obtain on this earth.
Run into the sea, yet the sea is not full. To the place from which the rivers come, there they return again. All things are full of labor. Man cannot express it.
At least that's what I'm thinking.
The
he's
eye
trying to say
is not
here.
satisfied with seeing, nor the ear filled with hearing. That which has been is what will be. That which is done is what will be done. And there is nothing new under the sun. Is there anything of which it may be said, see, this is new? It has already been in ancient times before us. There is no remembrance of former things, nor will there be any remembrance of things that are to come by those who will come after.
Is there anything of which it may be said, see, this is new? It has already been in ancient times before us. There is no remembrance of former things, nor will there be any remembrance of things that are to come by those who will come after. This could be turned into like a cool like fantasy sci-fi book, movie, show, or something. I'm going off on a tangent here, but it's just cool. So like it has already been in ancient times before us. So let's say we come up with this really cool technology. This is crazy of a tangent to be in a Bible study, but we come up with this technology and we're thinking like, wow, this is some new thing we created. But it has actually been invented, or something similar has been invented in ancient times before us, but we just don't remember it now. History has been lost. Something happened where we have lost our history, and it's been all mixed up and confused, and what we think to be true is not really true. So we don't remember the things of former, we don't remember, right? There's no remembrance of former things of ancient times, but it's already been done then. But there's nothing ever new that's going to happen, because it's just a cycle that keeps repeating. That could be a cool movie or something. Anyone who wants to make a movie here, yeah.
I, the preacher,
If I
was
knew how to make
king
a movie, I'd
over
make that. That'd be
Israel
cool.
in Jerusalem. And I set my heart to seek and search out by wisdom concerning all that is done under heaven.
That's interesting. He refers to himself as the preacher. I, the preacher, was king over Israel in Jerusalem. So after his reign as king, he started to declare himself as the preacher, it looks like. And I set my heart to seek and search out wisdom by concerning all that is done under heaven. So he's a what is that? What do they call those people? Syncretists who want to understand everything. Yeah. So this looks like it's Solomon after his reign as king, after he's gone old. He's referred to as the preacher. That's honestly kind of cool. That's kind of cool.
This burdensome task God has given to the sons of man, by which they may be exercised. I have seen all the works that are done under the sun, and indeed, all is vanity and grasping for the wind. What is crooked cannot be made straight, and what is lacking cannot be numbered. I communed with my heart, saying, Look, I have attained greatness, and have gained more wisdom than all who were before me in Jerusalem. My heart has understood great wisdom and knowledge.
That's interesting. So look, I have attained greatness. What? My camera's charged. This is insane. What is going on here? I literally charged my camera. Okay, this is insane. We're gonna have to. Dang, majority of this session is gonna be without my camera. What in the world? Let's. Well, that's no fun. What can we... Yeah, that's no fun at all. Let me see if this can work. Give me 1 second. Yeah, that's not gonna work. I really do need that. Get that software for my other camera to. Oh wait, this might work. Let's try this. Give me 1 second. I am trying to see if I can get this webcam to work. Let's see. This might work. Is that doing anything? No. There we go. Come on. There we go. Horrible looking. All right, but it's working. It's something. Okay, let's get this a little bit bigger over here. That's not bad, honestly. That's not bad. That is not bad. Okay. Yeah, this is actually kind of cool. All right. So, let's jump back into this. Okay, I'm happy. I'm excited. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's not bad. All right. Let me back it up a little bit.
I communed with my heart, saying,
Do I have the audio and everything up? Do I? Turn that off. That's on. That's on. Okay. Yeah. All right. So this should be good. All right. Let's go.
Look, I have attained greatness, and have gained more wisdom than all who were before me in Jerusalem. My heart has understood great wisdom and knowledge. And I set my heart to know wisdom and to know madness and folly. I perceived.
So he wanted to know wisdom. He wanted to understand madness and folly. He wanted to understand everything.
That this also is grasping for the wind. For in much wisdom is much grief.
Come on, I can't
And
even
he
see that.
who increases knowledge increases sorrow.
I need to go back. Okay, let's just read this. That's one thing I don't like about the YouTube thing with the ending things. Like they cover the I'm looking at my camera. It's this right now. They cover the screen so much. All right, so I commune with my heart, saying, "Look, I have attained greatness, and I have gained wisdom. I have gained more wisdom than all who were before me in Jerusalem." So he's not saying. I keep wanting to look at the camera, my actual camera. He's not saying that he's the wisest man on earth. He's saying that he was wiser than anybody that existed in Jerusalem. My heart has understood great wisdom and knowledge, and I set my heart to know wisdom and to know madness and folly. So I have set my heart to know wisdom and to know madness and folly. So is it because his acts had led to the knowledge of wisdom and folly, or did he actively go out and pursue madness and folly in order to understand that frame of mind? You see what I'm saying? Did his acts, did he fall into madness and folly due to something that he's done and that was unintentional, but now he understands that? Or did he actively pursue the knowledge of madness and folly? Because, I don't know. I perceived that this also is grasping for the wind. Okay, so he thinks that grasping for the wind, this is grasping for the wind, that a man can never fully understand everything. And I set my heart to know wisdom and to know madness and folly. He wanted to understand everything. And he thought that was grasping for the wind, like you're not going to be able to. So, for in much wisdom is much grief. So I don't know, maybe he felt a sense of like loneliness. I don't know what brought out the grief. And he who increases knowledge increases sorrow. I don't know what caused the grief and what caused the sorrow, but maybe that led him to feel the madness and the folly, that it was like, what was the point? It is impossible. I'm grasping for the wind. Maybe that's why he's trying to achieve a goal that is unachievable, and that brought about the sorrow, which then led to madness and folly, because it is folly to achieve complete wisdom, because you're ever learning. And where does it come from? God. So that means we can never attain God's level of wisdom. Therefore, it's an unattainable goal for us, and that brought about sadness and sorrow for Solomon. Makes sense. Makes sense. I'm excited about this webcam. I never really use webcams.
I
Cool.
said in my heart, "Come now, I will test you with mirth. Therefore enjoy pleasure." But surely this also was vanity. I said of laughter, madness, and of mirth, what does it?
What is mirth? When I hear mirth, I'm thinking of that quote, like something with mirth and magic. You lose time within yourself. Something from Lord of the Rings. I'm remembering that quote from that one interview with that Mary did with Frodo. What was the actor? How I don't know why it's Charlie from Lost. I don't know why I can't think of it. Gladness and merriment, especially when expressed by laughter. Okay, so that's what mirth. We got Billy Boyd as Pippin. Who's Mary? I forgot. I don't know why.
Was vanity. I said of laughter, madness, and of mirth, what does it accomplish? I searched in my heart how to gratify my flesh with wine, while guiding my heart with wisdom, and how to lay hold on folly.
All right, that's not good, man. That's not good. You preached against this. Okay, so maybe that's why you were telling your son all these things, because you saw that it was your downfall. Because you were telling your son, don't touch the alcohol.
Till I might see what with that, how to gratify my flesh with wine, while guiding my heart with wisdom, and how to lay hold on folly, till I might see what was good for the sons of men, to do under heaven all the days of their lives. I made my works great. I built myself houses and planted myself vineyards. I made myself gardens and orchards, and I planted all kinds of fruit trees in them. I made myself water pools from which to water the growing trees of the grove.
Made myself water pools from which to water the growing trees of the grove. So, what did these water pools look like? Were they some sort of like, that system where the water flows through the trees? But they're calling them pools, not canals or anything like that. Water pools. Let's see. Water pools. Solomon's pools, built by a prophet, restored by a sultan. Is that what it looks like? But how are you gonna water trees with that? The map of Jerusalem, water aqueduct, Solomon's pools left of Bethlehem. Wikipedia always has the answers. Solomon's pools are 3 ancient reservoirs located in the south central West Bank. Immediately to the south of Al-Qadir, about 3.5 kilometers southwest of Bethlehem, near the road to Hebron. The pools are located in Area A of the West Bank under the control of the Palestinian National Authority. So Solomon's pools provided water for 2 aqueducts that delivered water to Jerusalem during the late Second Temple period. So these pools delivered water to Jerusalem. So they collected rainwater, I'm assuming, and then it delivered it to the city. And I'm assuming that it therefore could deliver the water to different trees that needed watering.
Kinds of fruit trees in them. I made myself water pools from which to water the growing trees of the grove. I acquired male and female servants, and had servants born in my house. Yes, I had greater possessions of herds and flocks than all who were in Jerusalem before me. I also gathered for myself silver and gold, and the special treasures of kings and of the provinces. I acquired male and female singers, the delights of the sons of men, and musical instruments of all kinds. So I became great and excelled more than all who were before me in Jerusalem.
But see, that's his downfall, right? See, the vanity of pleasure. He's building these earthly. He's wanting more and more. He's a sea, right? The rivers are flowing to the sea, and it can never be filled. That's what he's like. He's obtaining all these riches and pleasure, riches and all these different luxuries, but it's never satisfying.
Jerusalem. Also, my wisdom remained with me. Whatever my eyes desired, I did not keep from them. I did not withhold my heart from any pleasure, for my heart rejoiced in all my labor, and this was my reward from all my labor. Then I looked on all the works that my hands had done, and on the labor in which I had toiled. And indeed, all was vanity and grasping for the wind. There was no profit under the sun.
So now in his old age, he's writing this, and he's looking back to all the things that he had, and he's just like, there's no point. What's the point? I mean, it's easy for some rich guy to say, hey, yeah, there's no point in money, right? You see celebrities talk about, money's not important when they have loads of money. But see, I think it is important in the sense that, money can buy you freedom. Yeah, it's not going to buy you happiness, and it's not the main goal we should focus on, and we shouldn't be consumed by it. But that doesn't mean it's bad, right? What is Solomon saying here? Then I looked on all the works that my hands had done, on the labor in which I had toiled, and indeed all was vanity, grasping for the wind. There was no profit under the sun. Maybe he went too far. That's why he's feeling like it's grasping for the wind. But I don't necessarily think it's grasping for the wind because, maybe to the extent where he's at, it's probably grasping for the wind. He has an overabundance of wealth. And he's constantly seeking more, right? He got to the point where he was just obtaining riches and riches and riches, and he, like I was saying, like he said, it's like a sea that can never be filled. All these rivers pouring into it. No matter how much pours into it, the sea is never going to overflow. So that's how he was feeling. So what's the point? That's why he was like, this is folly. It's like I'm grasping for the wind. But that doesn't mean that, money can buy comfort. Like you get to a point where, you need it. And then, after that, it can be, I have so much that I don't really need it, and it's like I want more and I'm grasping for the wind. Yeah, you shouldn't get to the point where, I need more money, right? Because the goal shouldn't be the money. It should be I'm walking the righteous path. I keep looking at my camera instead of the webcam. Okay. Right? You're walking the righteous path. That should be the goal. And money, you'll be blessed. God will bless you along the way. You'll have money along the way. But the end goal is beyond this world, right? That's our goal. So, and in that way, there is an actual goal, right? Because with Solomon grasping for wealth, you can always have more wealth. You can always have more wisdom. They're unattainable. You're never going to reach the highest mountain because that mountain, there is no peak. It's infinite. So you're never going to be satisfied. Like that's what he means when you're grasping for wind. You're never going to obtain it. But with God, we can get to heaven. We can have everlasting life, right? So that should be our goal. And Solomon has realized that in his old age, right? He was running after riches and wealth and pleasure and the vanity and pleasure, right? That's what the subheading was. And then now in his old age, he's reflecting on that. So
Then I turned myself to consider wisdom and madness and folly. For what can the man do who succeeds the king? Only what he has already done. Then I saw that wisdom excels folly, as light excels darkness.
He'll just be repeating himself over and over and over again. That's what he's talking about before, what we were talking about before.
The wise man's eyes are in his head, but the fool walks in darkness. Yet I myself perceived that the same event happens to them all. So I said in my heart, as it happens to the fool, it also happens to me. And why was I then more wise? Then I said in my heart, this also is vanity. For there is no more remembrance of the wise than of the fool forever, since all that now is will be forgotten in the days to come. And how does a wise man die? As the fool.
I don't know 100% about that, For there is no more remembrance of the wise than of the fool forever. Since all that now will be forgotten in the days to come. Yeah, but we still remember you, Solomon. We don't remember the fool next door, but we remember you. Let's look up a commentary about this. Ecclesiastes 2. Ecclesiastes 2 commentary. What verse was that around? So I had became great and excelled more than all who were before me in Jerusalem, right? That's pretty evident, right? Whatever my eyes desired I did not keep from them. So he took whatever he wanted. He got whatever he wanted. Okay, here. Then I looked on all the works that my hands had done. Indeed, all was vanity and grasping for the wind. Solomon examined his life and lived for pleasure. Solomon examined his life, lived for pleasure, even legitimate pleasures, and saw that it too was meaningless. All was vanity. There was no enduring, eternal sense of meaning to life, lived for these earthly pleasures and accomplishments. I turned myself to consider wisdom and madness and folly. The preacher continued to search after meaning and life, and followed the lines of wisdom and madness and folly further unto their ending point. For what can the man do who succeeds the king? Solomon here spoke of himself as the son of David, yet he also spoke of his own successor. Or you could say that he could be speaking about himself in the sense that he succeeded the king. Like the idea of the king, he went past it. He was greater than any other king. I keep looking at my other camera. He's greater than any other king. He succeeded that. He was wiser, richer. And now that he's reached this position, what can he do? He's just forced to repeat what he has done. Of both, Solomon understood that the new king can only do what he has already done. Even for a king, there is nothing new under the sun. Wisdom excels folly, yet I myself perceive that the same event happens to them all. The preacher saw the meaninglessness of even wise living, pleasure, and accomplishment in a life lived under the sun, apart from the knowledge that eternity is real and God matters. As it happens to the fool, it also happens to me. and why I was then more wise. If death ends it all, then this life is robbed of true meaning. Even the good and great accomplishments of this world are unbelievably temporary, and therefore ultimately meaningless. Not necessarily, because it depends on what you're doing with that wisdom. Even the good and great accomplishments, it depends on what those are. Because you can make huge impacts in people's lives, and that is not meaningless. Because, you could save people. You can save people by, showing them the door to eternity. And then that is not temporary. The wise man dies just as the fool. Truly, the preacher looked at this and said, this also is vanity, man. So Solomon's kind of looking down on himself right now, to be honest. Therefore, I hated life, for all is vanity and grasping for the wind. Solomon's trying to be like Venom there. Given his premise of life under the sun, Solomon hated life because it was so meaningless. Yeah, it's not meaningless, Solomon. That's enough. That's kind of depressing. All right.
Will be forgotten in the days to come. And how does a wise man die? As the fool. Therefore I hated life, because the work that was done under the sun was distressing to me. For all is vanity and grasping for the wind. Then I hated all my labor in which I had toiled under the sun, because I must leave it to the man who will come after me. And who knows whether he will be wise or a fool.
So all the stuff that he's done, it could be destroyed. It could all be destroyed because he doesn't know what the person is going to do after him. So he's worried about his legacy. So he's like, what is the point in all this? It's temporary, But see, it's not just what you've built. It's not just that, Your children are your legacy also, what you've taught them. But I guess somebody can come along and destroy that too. But, it's still, you can't think like that, right? You're affecting somebody's life. You're helping them out. And they'll take that with them for the rest of their lives. And that's not temporary, because that will continue to be passed down on from generation to generation. And like I said, you can save people with information, right? You can show them the door to eternity, introduce them to God and all that stuff. So it's not all folly. It's not all in vain. Maybe the riches that Solomon obtained, right? He said he obtained servants, singers, dancers, riches, all that stuff, all that, anything, pleasure related, like earthly pleasure. Yeah, I can see what you're talking about there, Solomon. But it's not all bad. There are some good things that you can have effect on in life.
Yet he will rule over all my labor in which I toiled, and in which I have shown myself wise under the sun. This also is vanity. Therefore I turned my heart and despaired of all the labor in which I had toiled under the sun. For there is a man whose labor is with wisdom, knowledge, and skill. Yet he must leave his heritage to a man who has not labored for it. This also is vanity and a great evil. For what has man for all his labor, and for the striving of his heart?
Come on, Solomon. Remember what you said yourself. What does a wise man do? A wise man shares his wisdom and his knowledge. So don't worry about who you're leaving it to. You do your best throughout your life. You help the people around you. And whoever inherits it, right? And yeah, you don't know what they're going to do with it. They might completely destroy what you have worked your entire life for. But you've done your part. And you have to put your faith in God, and, hopefully things work out after you pass away.
With which he has toiled under the sun. For all his days are sorrowful, and his work burdensome. Even in the night his heart takes no rest. This also is vanity, Nothing is better for a man than he should eat and drink, and that his soul should enjoy good in his labor. This also, I saw, was from the hand of God. For who can eat, or who can have enjoyment more than I? For God gives wisdom and knowledge and joy to a man who is good in his sight. But to the sinner he gives the work of gathering and collecting, that he may give to him who is good before God. This also is vanity and grasping for the wind. To everything there is a season, a time for every purpose under heaven, a time to be born, and a time to die, a time to plant, and a time to pluck what is planted, a time to kill, and a time to heal, a time to break down, and a time to build up.
Talk about the previous chapter. Solomon is so worried about his legacy, like it's all in vain. It's all, it might all be destroyed. Like, what was the point? The next person after me is just going to have to do the same thing that I did. He's going to inherit what I did. But remember, if he's inheriting what you did, he can build upon what you did and just continue to grow. But besides that, he's worried about his legacy, right? That it might all be destroyed, because who knows, a fool might inherit it. But it was destroyed. And it was honestly partially due to Solomon himself, right? Because he gave into his wife's pleadings to pray to, right? Because he married women from other nations that came from pagan backgrounds, and they wanted to pray to their God. So what did he do? He built the high places. He built altars for their God so that they can pray, and that introduced paganism back into Israel, into God's people. And so he's worried about his legacy, but he kind of destroyed it himself by the end.
Time to pluck what is planted, a time to kill, and a time to heal, a time to break down, and a time to build up, a time to weep, and a time to laugh, a time to mourn, and a time to dance, a time to cast away stones, and a time to gather stones, a time to embrace, and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to gain, and a time to lose, a time to keep, and a time to throw away, a time to tear, and a time to sow, a time to keep silence, and a time to speak, a time to love, and a time to hate, a time of war, and a time of peace. What profit has a worker from that in which he labors? I have seen the God-given task with which the sons of men are to be occupied. He has made everything beautiful in his time. Also, he has put eternity in their hearts, except that no one can find out the work that God does from beginning to end. I know that nothing is better for them than to rejoice and to do good in their lives, and also that every man should eat and drink and enjoy the good of all his labor. It is the gift of God. I know that whatever God does, it shall be forever. Nothing can be added to it, and nothing taken from it.
Right. So not everything is temporary. Whatever God does, it shall be forever. So that's why you walk that righteous path. You follow God, right? Because you're in it for the long game. That's the whole point. You're in it because for the longevity, right? Because God's not going anywhere. He's a constant. He's the rock, right? So I think Solomon was pretty much talking about only his earthly wealth, vanity, whatnot. I know he said wisdom as well, but he should know, like, wisdom comes from God. I think he was just feeling himself. He was just in his head, Like he said that his eyes, a wise man's eyes are in their head, right? Um, he's thinking, he's living in his head a bit too much. Hey Ricky, how's it going? What's Ricky saying? Deuteronomy 11:18. Therefore shall ye lay up these my words in your heart and in your soul, and bind them for a sign upon your hand, that they may be as frontlets between your eyes. Do you see similarities? Therefore shall ye lay up these words in your heart and in your soul, and bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they may be as frontlets between your eyes. Do you see similarities? That's Moses. When I read that in Moses, I was thinking, the first thing I thought of was the mark of the beast, right? Because it's on your forehead, it's on your hand. That's the first thing I thought of, to be honest. But what are you trying to draw parallels to with that, Ricky? Therefore shall ye lay up these my words in your heart and in your soul, and bind them for a sign upon your hand, that they may be as frontlets between your eyes, between your eye. Yeah, what do you mean? What do you mean? Do I see similarities in what you're in Deuteronomy 11:18 and what? What's the same? What's the same? Deuteronomy 11:8 is the same as what? As how Solomon is perceiving wisdom? I don't see that. What are you talking about, Ricky? Like, what's it the same as? No, they're not there. Let's keep going while Ricky answers that question.
By the good of all his labor, it is the gift of God. I know that whatever God does, it shall be forever. Nothing can be added to it, and nothing taken from it. God does it, that men should fear before him. That which is has already been, and what is to be has already been. And God requires an account of what is past. Moreover, I saw under the sun, in the place of judgment, wickedness was there, and in the place of righteousness, iniquity was there. I said in my heart, God shall judge the righteous and the wicked, for there is a time there for every purpose and for every work. I said in my heart, concerning the condition of the sons of men, God tests them, that they may see that they themselves are like animals. For what happens to the sons of men also happens to animals. One thing befalls them. As one dies, so dies the other. Surely they all have one breath. Man has no advantage over animals, for all is vanity.
Yeah, Solomon is in a mood right now.
All go to one place. All are from the dust, and all return to dust. Who knows the spirit of the sons of men, which goes upward, and the spirit of the animal which goes down to the earth? So I perceived that nothing is better than that a man should rejoice in his own works, for that is his heritage. For who can bring him to see what will happen after him?
Let me look up what that last bit means. Here's what I'm thinking. Who knows the spirit of the sons of men which go upward, and the spirit of the animal which goes down to earth? So I perceived that nothing is better than that a man should rejoice in his own works. But he just said all that stuff is all your works are in vain, because it's all temporary. for that is his heritage. So he's saying that your works are your heritage. So all a man's works are your heritage. All the previous things that that man has accomplished are your heritage. Therefore, that means you're remembering the past. So it is important. For who can bring him to see what will happen after him? That doesn't matter. Yeah, you're going to die. You're not going to see what happens after you. But the future generations can look back and see what you have done. That's why you're saying that the heritage is important. You should rejoice in your own works because it can be seen in the future by future generations. Let me see what a commentary has to say about this. So I perceived, it is true that Solomon perceived this, but he did not. He did so on the faulty assumptions of under the sun thinking. Nothing is better than that a man should rejoice in his own works, who can bring him to see what will happen after him. After briefly flirting with the confidence in eternity, the preacher has returned to his under the sun thinking. Under that premise, nothing is better than for man to accomplish that he can in this world and try the best he can, not to trouble himself about what will happen after him. In his under the sun thinking, Solomon has an answer for the question, what will happen after him? The answer is nothing, because death ends all. Death ends it all. And therefore, ultimately, his life has no more significance or meaning than the life of an animal. Come on, Solomon. All right, we're jumping into chapter 4. This is the last one for today.
Then I returned and considered all the oppression that is done under the sun. And look, the tears of the oppressed. But they have no comforter. On the side of their oppressors there is power, but they have no comforter. Therefore I praise the dead who are already dead, more than the living who are still alive. Yet better than both is he who has never existed.
Come on,
who has
Solomon.
not seen the evil work that is done under the sun. Again, I saw that for all toil and every skillful work a man is envied by his neighbor. This also is vanity and grasping for the wind. The fool folds
he said he was in a place of sorrow. This really is.
hands and consumes his own flesh. Better a handful with quietness than both hands full, together with toil and grasping for the wind. Then I returned, and I saw vanity under the sun. There is one alone, without companion. He has neither son nor brother, yet there is no end to all his labors. Nor is his eye satisfied with riches. But he never asks, for whom do I toil and deprive myself of good? This also is vanity and a grave misfortune.
So there is one alone without companion. He has neither son nor brother. So he has no wife. He doesn't have a son. He doesn't have a brother. He's alone. Yet there is no end to all his labor. So he works. He is continually working. Nor is his eye satisfied with riches. So he's not even working for riches. But he never asks, for whom do I toil and deprive myself for good? This is also vanity and a grave misfortune. So he's working. It's like wasting away. What's the point? There's no point. Yeah, you're not seeking wealth and riches, and you're not putting money as your end all be all. But even it's even worse in some cases. Like it's in some ways of looking at it. Like at least they're getting the money. What are you getting? Nothing. And you're just doing that for absolutely no reason. You're just why? What's the point? It's vanity, a grave misfortune.
are better than one, because they have a good reward for their labor. For if they fall, one will lift up his companion. But woe to him who is alone when he falls, for he has no one to help him up. Again, if two lie down together, they will keep warm. But how can one be warm alone? Though one may be overpowered by another, two can withstand him, and a threefold cord is not quickly broken. Better a poor and wise youth.
Right? It's that story, that fable, right, or something. I don't know where the story is, but it's like, you have one stick, you can break it. You have a bundle of sticks, it's hard to break.
One may be overpowered by another, two can withstand him, and a threefold cord is not quickly broken. Better a poor and wise youth than an old and foolish king who will be admonished no more. For he comes out of prison to be king, although he was born poor in his kingdom. I saw all the living who walk under the sun. They were with the second youth who stands in his place. There was no end of all the people over whom he was made king. Yet those who come afterward will not rejoice in him. Surely this also is vanity and grasping for the wind.
Because see, that's why I feel like that's why God got mad with David. David went ahead and did a census, and God got mad, right? A census is apparently supposed to only occur. A king should only do a census if God asks him to do one, not on his own accord. And I think the reason for that is because why? What's the point? You're a king. That is a role appointed by God. You were appointed to that role to serve. You are serving God by that role. It shouldn't feed your ego. You shouldn't be like, wow, look, I am ruling over 3 million people. That's pretty big. That's a lot of people. Look at me. You shouldn't think like that. Popularity passes away. Surely this also is vanity and grasping for the wind, right? You shouldn't be thinking about that. Popularity is not important. But we know what is important, right? We've been talking about that through all Proverbs. We have two paths. We have the one path that we know we need to take, that righteous path, right? That begins with the fear of God. When you fear God, you seek his wisdom, you seek understanding, you seek his understanding him. Then you walk that path. You learn him, you try and understand God, and you develop a relationship with him. God will bless you. You will flourish in life. And boom, before you know it, you're knocking at the door of eternity. And that's it. You're playing that's a long game, right? God is constant. He's everlasting. He's the rock, right? Everlasting. You're in it for the longevity. You're not in it for the temporary gains, like Solomon was talking about, right? That's vanity. That's grasping for the wind. You're in it for the temporary earthly pleasures. We don't want that. We want it. Of course, people want it. People want to be well off here on earth, but that shouldn't be our main goal. That shouldn't be our focus, right? We know what our focus should be, and if we keep that in our focus, God will bless us. So we'll get some of the stuff we do want. So don't worry. Just make sure you're on the right path. That should be the main focus. But anyways, that's going to be it for today. We finished Ecclesiastes chapter 4. I'm liking it. This old man Solomon. Some sad reflection, but he also gives some good advice too. So it's nice to see his perspective after all these years. I wonder if he will reflect on him building the high places, if he's going to have some sort of regret or something like that. I wonder if he's going to speak about that in Ecclesiastes at all. That'll be interesting. So let's see, what is Ricky saying? After we read this, we'll end it over here. So Ricky's saying, you seek the image of God. The image of the beast can be seen. The image of God, who can see it? That's true, right? And that was what we were warned about by Solomon, right? If your focus is the wealth, you might lean over into the path of the wicked to obtain that wealth. And why would you lean over the path of the wicked? Because you can see that happen every single day. You can see people sin and follow the wicked ways, run around in the arena of the wicked every single day. Whereas the righteous path, it's a very narrow path. You know, you might not see it. You know, and it's harder to walk. It's simple, but it's hard. So yeah, Ricky, that makes a lot of sense. But yeah, that's gonna be it. I'll see you tomorrow, hopefully, Ricky. And I'll see all you guys tomorrow. We'll jump into Ecclesiastes chapter 5. Hope you enjoyed today's reading. I liked it. I'm liking Ecclesiastes so far. So we'll jump into that tomorrow. Hope you have a great rest of your day. And I'll see you then. Take care. Bye-bye.